Hey everyone, how's it going? Sitlo just coming at you guys with another video, and I just picked up this Yamaha Zuma off a marketplace for 150 bucks. Now, as of now, the kickstart does not work. And when you hit the key on and try to start it, you don't get anything but a click. It's just clicking down there. Turn signals, horn, all that stuff works, but you don't want to start. So let's go ahead and tear into this thing and figure out why. So I'm going to start with the easy stuff first, and I'm going to go ahead and check the battery, see if this battery is even any good. I know the light and the horns and everything works, so just make sure all the connections are tight, all the connections are clean, kind of go from there. 12.6 on the battery, so the battery's in good shape. Granted, I haven't load tested it or anything like that, but it's reading good voltage. Let's go ahead and pull this guy out of here. Make sure the connections are tight. That one's kind of loose. Kind of a wonky connection to begin with, so. See if we did anything with that. Nope, still samey same. Let's go ahead and check this little fuse in here. This little white thing's a fuse holder. Inside here there's a little fuse. So that fuse is good, nothing wrong with that. So starting with the battery seems to be A-okay. That fuse right there seems to be A-okay. Alright, so moving on from there, we know the battery's good. We know the fuse is good. Let's go ahead and try to get at the starter relay or solenoid, which is tucked under there somewhere. And to get to that, we're going to have to get this baby naked. So let's go ahead and strip her down. Alright, so as you guys can see, I got it pretty much stripped down, pretty much all the back half of it stripped off, and now I'm going to go ahead and start just kind of poking around, testing wires and stuff. Like I said, battery's good, the starter solenoid or the starter relay is clicking, so let's test the starter and see if there's any power going to that thing. For that, I'm just going to use a simple test light. Always test your test light before you use it. Just touch it to the battery. Lights up just fine. Gotta make sure you're connected to a good ground. Starter terminal is right here. Let's go ahead and see what we got. I'm just going to unplug the starter. This terminal here plugs right on, and I'm just going to test it at the plug. Be a lot easier that way. Alright, key on, brake. As you can see by the test light, we're getting nothing there. So, interesting there. Let's go ahead and make a jumper wire and see if we can get this thing just to kick without the relay by bypassing that solenoid there. Alright, to jump the, or I guess to bypass it, I'm just going to use this power wire I found. It's like some cheap car stereo power wire I had laying around. It doesn't have to be anything this gnarly, it's just kind of what I had laying around at a quick grab, so this will do the trick. I'm just trying to go straight from the battery straight to the starter. And if the starter turns over, then I'll at least know that the starter works. And hopefully this thing isn't seized up. So hold that to the power. So nothing there. Huh. Alright, so I just jumped from the battery terminal straight to the starter terminal, and it did absolutely nothing. So that could be one of two things. Either A, the starter is shot, or B, the motor is seized. So hopefully it's just the starter shot and the motor is not seized. So let's go ahead and tear into the other side and see if this thing is seized or not. It's a very good possibility that this thing might be seized due to the fact that the Kickstarter is completely wasted. So let's go ahead and tear into this and see what lurks behind door number 1. And try to get this cover off. Okay, I got that one. 2 out of 3. Please. Number 3. Oh my God! Jeez, oh Pete. Alright, got that one. Luckily. About to give up on it. Yeah. Some oil leakage, but that's just from the oil reservoir up top. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and tear into this. See what's hiding behind here, I guess. Alright, a little tappy tap. There it is. Yeah, that belt never been replaced ever. Here's the kickstart mechanism. Kind of see what's going on with that. It doesn't look like it's in very good shape at all. Let's go ahead and put a socket on that and see if we can turn this sucker over. Yeah. Yeah, something is not happy inside of there. Well, not a good sign. Okay, you guys, so plowing ahead a little bit, I went ahead and pulled this thing apart and I removed the primary clutch off of it. As you can see, everything's kind of rusty in there, and I'm glad I did, because this pulley was completely, or that sleeve was completely seized in there, so the variator wouldn't have worked even if it did run. So, and behind the variator, this is like where the starter assembly and all that stuff connects together. But anyway, I pulled this piece off, which I have no idea what the heck it does, but it's got 3 little keyways in it, and it had these little rollers, these little drum rollers in it, and I have no idea what the hell that thing was for. But anyway, now that thing is removed, the motor turns over just fine now, and nothing's grinding or messing up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to put it back together, maybe bypass that electric starter. I already soaked this thing down with PB Blaster and got everything in the, as far as the Kickstarter works now, because this was just it's hard to do one-handed, but you can see I got that thing going and it returns. Sorry, it's hard to do with one hand, but you get the idea. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe tinker around with this setup a little bit more and see if I can figure out what's what and maybe get the electric start to work again. But if not, at least I'm confident that the Kickstarter is going to work again. So we're not at a total loss yet. I'm not giving up just yet, so stick around. So going back to this piece here, I have no idea what this piece is for. But you can see in there's a couple of little cutouts. And this one, actually in all three of them, there's like these spring-loaded pins that hold those rollers in place. Now that one, the pin is freely moving. That one, the pin is seized and stuck all the way back. So is that one. That one's seized and stuck all the way back. So I really don't know what the heck that thing's for, but I am just gonna go ahead and try to free those up the best I can. If not, I guess we're not gonna have electric start. Alright, so I did what I could with the electric start up there. I tried to free all this up and clean it out the best I could, and I got everything free, but the thing still doesn't want to work. So you know what? I'm going to bypass the electric start, and hopefully the kickstart works, and then this thing will just be kickstart only, which honestly, I prefer anyway. Alright, so sticking with the plan and bypassing the electric starter. Like I said, I got the Kickstarter all working now. Hopefully I didn't just break it. No, it's good. How the Kickstarter works is you see this clock spring wrapped around this, and it's got the gears on it. And then on here, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but behind here, I'll just pull it off for you. There's a gear that has teeth that are angle cut. So as you engage downward on the Kickstarter, it pushes this gear out. You can see how it goes back and then forth. And what that does is that when it kicks forward, it engages on these teeth, which allow it to grab the crankshaft and start the motor. So anyway, just a quick lesson on how that works. Anyway, go ahead and start throwing this thing back together. Like I said, I'm going to bypass the electric start here because it's just proven to be pretty troublesome, and just call it good the way it is. Okay, so you guys remember this piece, all right? I went ahead and pulled all three of those little nylon puck things out, and there were some springs in there, and I'm just going to go ahead and reassemble it without those rollers or any of that, and just bypass this piece, because this piece is what was making all that grinding. See, now it just turns over, and you can hear it's clearly turning over just fine. As before, it was grinding and shrieking, and it's because those rollers were pretty much just loosely just falling out of place, and they're just causing this to all bind together. So that's probably what made me think that the motor was possibly seized. And like I said, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep cleaning this thing up, clean off a bunch of this gunk here. I guess I should show you how this works. You see how this sleeve here and this plate, and it just kind of moves back and forth. Well, when you pull all this apart, you'll see the back side of the primary clutch has these cutouts here, and these rollers, these little rollers here. And what these rollers do is they rest in that bucket or the basket, whatever you want to call it. And as the RPMs increases, centrifugal force allows this to expand, and this ramp here allows the clutch to expand and contract. In this case, when we accelerate, it pinches, grabbing the belt and propelling the machine. So anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean all these ramp surfaces up and all these rollers and stuff up before I put it back together, make sure everything's functioning nice and perfect. And then I'm gonna go ahead and You know, I don't think I'm going to remove the secondary clutch. I do think I'm going to take some Scotch-Brite and clean the just the mating, the faces of the sheaves in the back there, just so the belt has something nice and smooth to ride on, because I can feel it's pretty pitted and nasty back there. All right, guys, so I got this part pretty much cleaned up. I didn't get too carried away with it, but I got all the heavy, thick, scaly rust off it, made it a lot smoother. And make sure you don't lose these little, I don't know, they feel like kind of like plastic or fiberglass or something, but basically what these are little, they're little sliders. They allow the clutch, see how it rests around here? They basically allow the clutch to move in and out smoothly and expand and contract. But anyway, you don't want to lose those, and you want to make sure those are assembled the right way. Be a good time to clean this face of this sheave off. These are called sheaves, the sheave faces, and they pinch the belt, and as they expand, it lets go. As they pinch, it grabs the belt. But anyway, as you can see, it gets kind of worn out, so it's a good idea to just kind of take some Scotch-Brite and clean the surfaces off. It's not a bad idea to also inspect each one of these rollers. In this case, there's 6 of them. They all appear to be in decent shape. There's no flat spots or anything on either of them yet, which is a good sign. If there's flat spots on the rollers, that means they're not rolling, and they're pretty much just sliding back and forth when not doing their job properly. So you just want to inspect the rollers and make sure all the rollers are good. All right, let's go ahead and take this thing apart now and put it back together. It's kind of a pain in the ass. When I peeled this thing apart, all these rollers just come falling out of it, and I was like, oh no. But you know, you just gotta look at it, think about it, and it'll all come to you, and then you'll be able to put it back together. Go ahead and just clean all these surfaces off real quick, just so our pin glides nice and smoothly, because before it was completely seized in there. There's no way that clutch would have worked even if it did run. So it's kind of a good thing that we got to tear into this, because we got to, you know, inspect it all inside out, do a thorough look over at it, and I was able to figure out why the electric start wasn't working, and why it felt like the kickstart was not working, and why it felt like the motor was seized. Yeah, you see how nice that glides now. Very nice. So now we can go ahead and put the rollers back in one by one. One there, one there, one there, one there, one there. And last but not least, and then we go ahead and put our sandwich back together. And boom, that is our primary clutch. You can see it moves in and out just fine. So let's go ahead and put this guy back on like so. Don't forget to put your belt. Well, actually, yeah, before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and clean these other sheave faces, because like I said, if I stick my finger behind there, what I'm referring to is I'm referring to the back side of these, because this is basically the same as this, and you can feel all the pitting and the chunkiness of it. So it'd be a good idea to clean that. That way you don't waste your belt. So grab some Scotch-Brite and I'll be right back. Now take your time doing this part, because the better you do this part, the better the clutch will work. While it's apart, I'm also going to do the variator mod. I'm just going to go ahead and remove this spacer washer that they put in there. And by removing this spacer washer, what that allows the primary clutch to do is able to pinch in further, thus drawing the belt further down into the primary clutch and up higher, or actually further up into the primary clutch and further down into the secondary clutch, making the back wheel turn faster, ultimately gaining you more top speed. So let's go ahead and proceed with putting this turd back together. But first, I'm going to continue cleaning my sheaves. Piece of sandpaper here. There's some pretty scaly, thick rust on the backs of these sheaves. I should realistically, what I should do is I should pull this thing all apart and clean all this out the proper way. But you know what? I just kind of had it with this thing, so I'm just doing the, I guess, the essentials. And try not to make it any more complicated than it already has been. So like I said, when I first got this thing, the guy told me it needed a battery. As you can see, it needed a little more than just a battery. So, guy told me the belt was replaced and yada yada yada. What a Facebook Marketplace. Alright, that one feels a lot better. Let's do the back one now and call her good. Alright, so clean the faces on that one. Good way to check the secondary is just kind of grab the sheaves and try to pull them in and out. I don't know if you guys can see me pulling in and out, and it should expand and contract freely. Just gonna go ahead and rip this extra piece of gasket out. We don't need that. And you know I tore this gasket, however, I think this is more or less just a dust gasket to keep dust out. I don't think that it is imperative. I don't think there's any fluid that goes in here, so. This belt here I should probably realistically replace this belt too. I don't know the exact specs of the belt or how thick it's supposed to be, but the way that primary clutch is working, I suspect that this thing probably wasn't working too great, so, or this belt probably doesn't have a whole lot of life left in it, so anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and send it. Just gonna send it. Now, last but not least, this piece. Yep, that piece. Washer, Booker T washer. And this here, that there. We get our dang impact there and crank that there down there. Alright, so that is all back together. And as you can see now, it turns, you know, relatively freely. A little bit of resistance from the compression in the motor, but it's not making a shrieking, horrible, grindy, funky, nasty sound anymore, so that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, we got the Kickstarter working all good now. Go ahead and wipe some of this excess. Grease off of it. Yamaha. Oh yeah, so it's not even bolted together, but the Kickstarter is engaging. Just gonna go ahead and kind of, not gonna cinch them all the way down until I get them all in first. So yeah, the clapped out Yamaha. We've made it this far. I ain't giving up yet. It's a Yamaha. It should run. It should run. It's a freaking Yamaha. Alright, Kickstarter is working, which is awesome. Honestly, I was bummed that the Kickstarter didn't work. The guy told me, oh, it just needs a battery, electric start works fine. What a crock of shit. Some people, I tell you. But hey, at least I'm handsome and very mechanically inclined. Alright, so I kind of got it half-assed back together. Now let's go ahead and see if this thing will run. Hit it with some starting fluid. And here it goes. Smoking. So that tells me that it's at least getting oil. Seems to be running pretty darn good, actually, other than the fact that it seems to smoke a little more than what I'm used to, but hey, at least it's running. At first I thought I bought a seized moped, but now it is at least kind of half-ass running, so actually not even half-ass running. It's running, so it's good. Throw some fresh gas in her. So who knows how old this gas is. Alright, one more try. Sweet, it works. Okay, so now that we know that it works and it runs, I guess the only thing left to do now is put it back together and give it a little shakedown. So let's put it back together. Well, okay, you guys. Now that's all back together, I guess the only thing we got left to do now is give it a test ride and see how she goes. So let's give it a whirl. So, first impression, the thing runs and rides freaking awesome. So, like I said, for 150 bucks and a little bit of work, you can't beat it. That's going to be a fun little scoot. Ain't the prettiest thing on the planet, but hey, at least it runs and it rides, which is a lot better than what it was doing when it first showed up here. So, anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and learned a thing or two. If you guys like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe. Any questions or anything, go ahead and shoot them in the comment section. I'll be sure to answer them the best I can. And as always, take it easy, and thanks for watching. Have a good night.